Today we're going to cover the installation of the Rugged Radio's air pumper, and I'm going to show you how I installed it on the Arctic Cat XX. And I did install the model with the variable speed controller, so we'll take a look at where I set that up, as well as we're going to take a look at these two helmets sitting next to me. The Bell helmet along with the HJC forced air helmet, and I will let you know which one I prefer. So with that said, let's get started. There's many choices where you can install it. I chose not to drill holes. A lot of people will put it right here. They'll drill holes and mount it, and then it's kind of between your shoulders here. I decided to not drill holes into the Arctic Cat and bolt it on the back cargo rack. I made a bracket and I drilled some holes in the cargo rack and I installed it back here. So if I have to remove the cargo rack to access the spare tire, all I have to do is undo the hoses real quick, disconnect the electrical connector right here, and that will come off with the cargo rack. If you've never had one of these before, the hoses are collapsible, expandable, so just pull on them and they stretch out. It's probably a good 6 feet. Now in order to retract them, you just have to kind of push them back together. So the controller just mounts with 2 screws, and then at the bottom I trimmed a hole for the power cord to go through. Alright, let's fire this up so you can see how it works. It's a 3-position switch: center off, down full power for the blower, up variable speed for the blower, controlled by this knob. So if I go up, you should be able to hear it. Now that is pumping out some air. And if I dial that back, and then if you're just kind of cruising on a low volume of air going through and something happens, you go through a massive amount of dust and you want full air, switch it straight down and it'll kick it into full automatically. And you get maximum airflow. So that is how that works. Let me turn it on one more time so you can hear it scream back here. The wiring for this system is pretty straightforward. 2 wires go from the variable speed controller to the battery, and the other 2 wires go from the variable speed controller to the air pumper. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate getting in the vehicle with the Bell helmet on. Now I have to get my hose and plug it up here. Okay, that's kind of a pain getting that in here, and now I'm ready to go. One nice thing about the HJC is the side mount for your air hose. So in this case, it's easier to put the helmet on and then grab the air hose, and because it's on the side, I can just put it on right there. When it's up in the back, it's hard to reach up here and plug in that bell. I don't like that. The other thing I noticed with the HJC is the airflow is much cooler and flows way better than the Bell. So there's something about the HJC and the side input the air flows through the whole helmet a lot better than the Bell does. If you're in a hot climate like I am here in Arizona, you want that cool airflow, and the HJC flows much more cool air. Now we'll get in and out of the vehicle with the helmet on. So with the side mount, I can disconnect the hose and get in and out of the vehicle and take the helmet on and off out here instead of in there. Now if I'm sitting in here with the Bell, as you can see, my top clearance is not a whole lot to get in and out of the vehicle with the helmet on. Or if I get in, oh, boom, I hit. I do not like this top. So you can see, a tall person like me, I do not like that extra 1.5 or 2 inches sticking above the top of the helmet. It is an annoyance. So as we look at these two helmets, if you're in an environment where you don't really need your forced air, and so you don't have that hooked up, but you want some airflow to go through the helmet just by from wind resistance, each helmet does have vents. So going over the Bell, we have a vent up at the top where you just open that up and air will be forced in, and down at the mouthpiece you open that up and you can see the air being forced in there as well. When you're riding in the dust and you have your forced air on, you want to make sure these vents are closed. If you're not using the forced air system for the HJC, you have your 2 vents up at the top that you can open or close here. So sliding this back is open, open, and then this one here, open. Now because we have the side air inlet, the vents down around the mouth are locked out. They lock those out because the side air inlet interferes with the slide of those, so you don't get that feature with the side air inlet. Now remember, if you're going to be running forced air, you want to make sure all of these vents are closed back up. Well, that concludes our overview of the Rugged Air Pumper, and now it's time to decide which is the winner of the helmets. And overall, it's going to be your personal choice, but let me just go over and tell you my opinion. I'm going to say the HJC is the winner between the two helmets. And my number 1 reason is the side entry air port. The number 2 reason is the overall airflow of the helmet. Now what I did discover is these are not exhaust vents back here. There are no exhaust vents venting the air coming into this helmet out. So the air comes in here, it goes up a channel and gets dispersed over your head. And the only way it can escape from that point on is to go down and out your neck. So you get a lot more positive pressure of airflow to help cool your head, and at the same time positive pressure to prevent dust from entering up under the helmet. So my choice is the HJC. For style, I would pick the Bell. The Bell is a much better looking helmet. It does come with the transition lenses. The problem with the Bell is it's hard to have the helmet on and plug in at the top like we discussed, and it has all these exhaust ports. So when the air comes in through the top, it's just running right down the channel and right back out the exhaust. It does not pressurize the helmet as well as the HJC. Now I'm going to say I have used this in the dust several times, and the dust was never produced inside the helmet. I never had a problem with the dust. It was just always hot, and that made it uncomfortable. Where the HJC never had a problem with dust either, but it's always a cooler helmet to wear. So my pick is going to be the HJC. Plus it's just easier to get the hose off, get out of the vehicle, etc. I'll let you decide which helmet you want to buy, and keep in mind there's links in the description below for everything we've discussed here today, except for that mount bracket. You'd have to make that. So once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.